Recently, someone asked me the following question. Why do you feel they need to be told anything? What difference does it make to you if a person loves their dog and believes their dog loves them? Is it any of your business? My reply was as follows. Yes, it is my business because someone's decision to own a dog affects everyone in society. Dogs spread disease through their untreated waste, which is also polluting our water and killing our grass and trees. Their barking is driving us crazy and ruining our health. They are destroying our relationships and breeding violence between neighbors. They are attacking innocent people in unprovoked attacks every day because they are predators with a prey drive. They are biting, disfiguring, and killing people on a regular basis. They are triggering people's allergies and robbing people with phobias of their quality of life because people are bringing them into every last public space. They have driven a dozen animal species to extinction and threaten over 200 more. They kill livestock on a regular basis. Need I go on? According to dog lovers, the imprisoning of dogs is either a benefit to society as a whole or is a socially neutral activity, relevant only to the dog itself and its owner. Dog imprisonment is not a neutral event. It comes at a considerable cost to society in many ways. I have looked at the cost of dogs to society in previous videos. There is the physical cost of dogs. I have spoken in many videos about the physical danger that dogs pose to society. Dogs cost society in the form of human death, disability, and disfigurement. They directly attack humans, biting and mauling, preying by preference on the young and the aged in society. If you want to find out more of the physical cost of dogs in terms of human suffering, watch any or all of the following videos. Dogs and Disfigurements, Bridger Walker is a Hero, Man's Worst Fiend, and other videos. I have shown that it doesn't matter how they are raised or what experiences they have had in earlier life. I have also shown that dogs do not spare you, no matter what you have done for them. There are people who believe they have saved the lives of dogs. They may believe that they have somehow rescued the dog from some unknown and unspecified threat. Even if they believe these things, they will not be spared from attack. The care, attention, love, and money you lavish on a dog will not protect you if it decides to attack you or your children. If they think that their dog should be grateful for the rescue, they are mistaken. No matter how many treats are lavished on them, it is never enough. Dogs injure and kill humans by methods other than biting them. They are responsible for a variety of accidents inside and outside the home, usually by colliding with people, or in the case of traffic accidents, running in front of vehicles. For example, a study carried out in 2018 involving traffic accidents in southern Spain showed that the main animal involved in animal vehicle collisions in the area is the dog. This is likely to hold true for many other parts of the world. Dogs are central to traffic accidents in another way, and that is by being a distraction inside the car when the owner is driving. A US study showed that 60% of drivers traveling with dogs admitted to being distracted by their dogs while driving. I will return to the subject of dogs and motor vehicles later in this video. I have also spoken at length about dogs and diseases transmitted to humans either by the dogs themselves or via parasites carried by the dogs. If you wish to find out more, watch Dogs, Lyme Disease, and Other Tick-Borne Illnesses, Dogs transmit Pastorella. Dogs transmit the plague. Dogs are the main cause of 60,000 human rabies deaths per year. Dogs transmit capnocytophaga. I have also covered the environmental cost of dog imprisonment in a number of videos. For example, pet waste is fueling blue-green algae blooms. Domestic dogs threaten wildlife. The dog waste problem. Dog urine and feces are particularly toxic. Urine burn and ammonium toxicity damage plants. Even when feces are picked up, they still leave traces that can infect humans and animals and can damage the environment. In my video, The Deleterious Effects of Exposure to Chronic Barking, I covered the stress caused by chronic barking. But the dog brings a number of other emotional costs that society has to bear. There are a number of emotional costs, such as loss of enjoyment of public spaces because of dog intrusion. The presence of dogs in public spaces, such as beaches, parks, or nature trails, creates a tension because of the unpredictable nature of the dog and the danger it may cause. Parents and grandparents have to be vigilant to protect children from dogs, and that level of anticipatory tension ruins what should be a relaxing opportunity. If dogs are present, we know that they will intrude in our personal spaces, intimidate us, steal from us, and do all of the things that dogs do. When someone is dog-phobic or has an allergy to dogs, there is considerable emotional cost to them because dogs are everywhere. Someone allergic to dogs is limited in where they can go and what they can do because they know that dog owners will not empathize with their problem. There is the same emotional cost for someone who is dog-phobic. It can be worse because dog owners operate on the idea that the phobic needs to get over their fear and will often deliberately bring dogs close to them. Dog owners are usually insensitive to people who are dog-phobic, commonly telling them that they haven't met the right dog yet, as if they are talking about some kind of interspecies dating agency. Dogs are increasingly being introduced into indoor spaces and even into the workplace. So someone who is dog-phobic or allergic, or like me, hates dogs, sees their opportunities for a dog-free life diminishing day by day. A favorite phrase of dog worshippers, if you complain about their dog, is, "If you don't like it, go somewhere else." This is essentially Hobson's choice of take it or leave it, because there are fewer and fewer somewhere else's to go, because dog owners have colonized them for an animal that doesn't belong. I have even discussed the cost of dog imprisonment to the dogs themselves. Recently, someone left a lengthy comment on my video entitled "Man's Best Friend, History or Mystery." After an imaginative, evidence-free description of the creation of the dog, he wrote the following, quote, "Humans kept dogs around and fed them because it benefited us to do so. We gained companionship, a warning system for predators and rival groups, and potentially a powerful hunting tool. This is a demonstrably mutually beneficial relationship, formally referred to in biology as symbiosis. We have brought dogs into this world and now have the moral responsibility to care for them." End quote. Removing dogs from their biological mothers, imprisoning them in an inappropriate environment, keeping them collared or harnessed, sterilizing them to make them less aggressive, is a bizarre form of symbiosis. Selectively breeding animals with physical problems, such as the respiratory distress of brachycephalic dogs, is not symbiosis, nor is it caring for them. Selecting genetic strains of dogs that cannot mate or give birth on their own is not caring for them. For more information, please see The Cruelty and Insanity of Breeding Pedigree Dogs and Dog Ownership is Cruel, Love is Hate, Hate is Love. In this video, I cited a study carried out in Finland on 13,700 pet dogs, which showed that 72.5% of dogs had some kind of highly problematic behavior. This is the result of callous abuse, not care. It is the product of exploitation, not symbiosis. Where is the benefit to the dog? One cost I have not touched upon in any depth is the financial cost of dogs in society. If you search for cost of dogs, you will get plenty of information on what it costs to buy a dog and to look after it properly. While it is easy to get information on how much money a dog owner has to pay to buy and keep a dog, there is little information on how much dogs cost us who are not dog owners. What is the cost to the owner of a dog? According to the Better Pet website, it costs around $750 in upfront costs when buying your dog and providing basic equipment for it. They have decided to use the word adopt when they mean buy, but that is very common in the dog worshipping world. I have discussed this before. Dogs are not adopted. They are bought or purchased. $750 upfront costs. This would be substantially more if the owner decides to buy what is termed a pedigree dog. Upfront costs in that case could be several thousands of dollars. Essential running costs are estimated at around $2,000 per annum, which would include routine vet fees, dental treatment, food, grooming, and insurance. This figure of $2,000 would be greatly inflated with the size and type of dog, and if pedigree, the cost of the corrective surgery and veterinary treatment to correct genetic disorders would also inflate the cost. Many owners decide to buy premium food, costly equipment, endless treats, birthday parties, Christmas presents, special clothing, and so on. So the $2,000 every year looks like the bargain basement costs. If the dog lives for 10 years, that is a cost to the owner of at least $20,000 for basic running costs in its lifetime. Then there are the unexpected costs of veterinary emergencies, boarding the dog, taking it on holiday, hiring dog sitters and dog walkers. There is also the potential costs of civil liability if a victim of your dog decides to sue. BetterPet.com conservatively estimates these costs at around an additional $200 per year. SprucePets.com estimates the cost of owning a dog to be between $1,500 to $9,900 per year. Surely the dog owner is entitled to spend what they want. Purchasing a dog, plus its equipment, food, and veterinary and supervisory services, puts money into the economy and helps the financial wheels go round. What's wrong with that? Well, there are many things wrong with it. These costs are a spectacular waste of money, a waste of money that could be employed elsewhere and used for the benefit of humans rather than for animals that are a pest and a burden on society. While there are financial costs for the owner to bear, the purchase of a dog brings a number of knock-on costs that are rarely considered or calculated. I do not want a dog, but I am financially subsidizing dog owners all of the time. They require a whole network of social support. Dog owners expect and get this network provided at no additional cost to themselves. Society pays a massive subsidy to dog owners in a variety of ways. The non-dog owning public has to shoulder the majority of this financial burden, with the dog owner paying no more than the average taxpayer. We all pay out for dogs, whether we have one or not, whether we want one or not, whether we love them or not. I have decided to look at financial costs in 3 broad areas. They are policing, repair, and incidentals. By policing, I mean the financial cost of regulating, monitoring, and enforcing legal controls about dogs. The police are involved in this, but they are only part of the overall costs of policing the dog menace. Let's talk about the financial cost of policing the dog menace. Because of the dangerous and destructive nature of dogs, society has to establish protective mechanisms to manage the dog menace. Framing legislation is a time-consuming and costly business, paid for out of taxes. The legislators don't do it for nothing, and the financial cost of legislation is increased by the activities of the dog worship lobby. For example, legislators may try to respond to the fears and concerns of citizens by increasing restrictions on dogs. Such measures could include leash laws, restrictions in public places, or the introduction of breed-specific legislation. Such measures will always be opposed and contested by dog worshippers, who will want to present the issues as dog welfare ones. Protecting humans from dogs is a human welfare issue, not a dog welfare issue. But legislators have to expend their time and our money on debating such issues with dog worshippers. Your taxes pay for this, whether you are a dog owner or not. If people did not bring dangerous animals into our midst, we would not need such protective legislation. Contrary to what dog worshippers believe, dog cruelty tends to be carried out by dog owners, and protecting dogs from abusive owners is a financial burden to us all. Regulating, monitoring, and enforcing the protection of dogs that we don't want and that we never introduced into society is another cost that we pay up without complaint and without thinking about it. We are paying up to protect the very species that is making our lives difficult and that is literally ending some people's lives. Then there is the cost of monitoring and enforcing these regulations. This may involve actual police, who are often the first responders to a dog complaint. This is more taxpayer money going to the dogs, and the cost of the taxpayer can go beyond paying a portion of police wages. Sometimes dogs are injured or killed by police. Sometimes dogs are confiscated by the police. Confiscation of dogs means more tax money going to the dogs through kenneling costs. Killing or injuring a dog often means more costs to the police of dealing with dog advocates and associated lawsuits. Many authorities employ dog wardens to monitor local dog regulations. Who pays for this? You've guessed it, you do. Some of the policing comes from charities such as the ASPCA or the RSPCA. This may seem to be something that is fully funded by dog owners and therefore is not a financial drain on the rest of us. A while ago, one of my British viewers pointed out that he used to contribute to the RSPCA, believing he was contributing to the welfare of all animals. When the RSPCA started to campaign for the repeal of breed-specific legislation and the reintroduction of pit bulls into the UK, he stopped contributing. He formed the opinion that dog owner protection was a dominant aim of the RSPCA, taking precedence over the protection of other animals. I have spoken before about how many dogs and other animals that pit bulls attack and kill every year, and yet the RSPCA wants to support this breed, as does the ASPCA. Governments often provide funds for charities, so again, without your consultation or permission, part of your tax money is going towards protecting and promoting dogs. Now let's talk about the financial cost of repairing the dog menace. Someone has to clear up the mess and damage that dogs create. Police, fire, and ambulance services have to respond to accidents caused by dogs. You are paying for that. Accidents caused by dogs put additional strain on medical and hospital services. As far as I know, there is no such thing as a free health service. It has to be paid for through taxes and insurance. As well as the usual culprits of the large, powerful dog breeds, small toy breeds are also responsible for the increase in hospitalization. An article in the Daily Telegraph last year stated that over 23,000 hospital admissions in the UK over the previous 3 years were related to dog bites. The article is entitled, "Small Dog Trend is Fueling Number of People Hospitalized." I will provide you with the address of the article, but it is only available to read by subscribers to the newspaper. These figures are only for hospital admissions. People seek other forms of medical assistance, and many people treat their own injuries or ignore them, so the true figure is unknown. In the USA, 800,000 people seek medical assistance for dog bites every year. And you, the non-dog owner, is subsidizing the cost of these horrors, paying for ambulance, medical, and nursing. As I mentioned earlier, dogs harm people by means other than biting, so the 23,000 admissions do not include people pushed over, pulled down, or rammed into by dogs. CDC figures show that fall injuries serious enough for treatment in emergency rooms averaged nearly 87,000 per year in the US from 2001 to 2006, almost 88% of them caused by dogs. This has all got to be paid for by someone, and it is not the dog owners. Tax costs and insurance premiums have to be adjusted to include these costs. Dogs also damage property. I have shown video clips of dogs ripping cars apart. I have shown videos of furniture and fittings destroyed by dogs. It is likely that dog owners would claim on their home insurance for such destruction. This increases your premiums for home buildings and contents insurance. Next time you are shocked by the size of your insurance premiums, remember that dog owners owe you a debt for your contribution towards the damage that their animal causes. If your car is damaged through the fault of a dog and you make a claim, you will have to absorb the excess out of your own money. Your subsequent premiums will go up. In Canada, we have something called a no-claims bonus, or reductions in your policy cost, which increase with the number of years that you don't make a claim. I know it's the same in the UK. Probably it's exactly the same everywhere else. If a dog causes an accident, you have to claim through your insurance, and you lose your no-claims bonuses. You may decide to pay all of the costs yourself to avoid losing these bonuses, or your insurance policy may not include damage caused by hitting or avoiding a dog. Restoration of environments damaged by dog feces and urine is costly, and you are paying for the environmental agencies and the water companies to clean up the mess left by dogs and their owners. Parks, beaches, playing fields, cycle paths, nature trails, cemeteries, and all of the other public spaces that owners release their dogs into have to be cleaned to be safe. Dealing with the impact on wildlife does not come free either. Now, the financial incidentals of the dog menace. I included this section to look at some of the incidental costs of imprisoning dogs and pretending that they are part of human society. Because dogs are everywhere, their presence reduces the personal value of my spending. If I pay for a cup of coffee, the value of that coffee, to me, gets reduced by having to drink it while experiencing the smell of dog. The value of my relaxation while drinking the coffee is reduced by dog sounds and by dogs staring at me. If I buy a plane ticket, the value of that ticket is eroded by the presence of an animal that may attack me, may defecate inside the plane, or may cause a disturbance. It would be reasonable to expect a refund on your ticket for having to endure such disruption for the convenience of one passenger who is either unwilling or unable to deal with their anxiety in a mature and rational fashion. At home, if you have a neighbor with an aggressive dog, you may have to build fencing or strengthen your doors and windows to protect yourself from the dog. If you decide to control the dog noise by using an electronic barking device, this is another cost to you. I have heard from viewers who have tried to soundproof their windows in order to block out the sound of barking dogs, which, as I explained in my videos, damages our health. And destroys our relationships because we get so stressed out, we get irritable, it affects our family life and our relationships. These people spend between $1,000 to $2,000 per window pane. And even after spending this money, only a percentage of the noise is blocked out. There are other ways people try to soundproof their windows by purchasing special thick curtains, fitting their windows with foam and other materials that block out the sound, again, to a degree, not entirely. Even after these people spend exorbitant amounts of money trying to soundproof their home, they are still bombarded by the sound of barking dogs. We have had to purchase 3 white noise machines to drown out the sound of our neighbors' barking dogs. And this is all at our expense. Taxpayers pay for the creation of parks and other recreational areas for the use of humans. Dog owners use them as dog exercise areas and dog toilets. This introduces higher maintenance costs than if these areas were for humans only. In the UK, for example, children's playgrounds are fenced and gated to protect children from dog attacks. You are free to guess who pays for this. It is not dog owners. And by the way, when it comes to keeping dogs out of children's play parks, these fences and gates are utterly useless. I have a good friend who lives in Scotland, and she's always telling me about how she brings her kids to the park, and she sends me pictures regularly of dogs inside the play park, behind the fences now I'm talking about, where they're not supposed to be. Dog owners routinely bring them into the play parks, and she snaps photos of the dogs urinating on the play equipment. The other day, she confronted 2 men who brought a pit bull type dog into the playground, and they proceeded to film her as though she was doing something wrong when they were the ones clearly breaking the law. Not only did they film her, one of them approached her and assaulted her. Well, I'm not sure if it was actually an assault, but he was trying to grab her phone while she was filming him. And the other guy was making the dog hang off a stick. This is how they train fighting dogs, to build up the muscles in their jaws. And he was showing off the power in the dog's jaws. This was a very intimidating gesture. And I have the video of it, but she's asked me not to upload it. We're just holding off until she hears back from the police who are investigating the incident. It's crazy. These dog owners are mental. And so building these fences and these gates is a waste. This is not something that is unique to the United Kingdom. I have viewers from around the world, and I can tell you that this is happening everywhere. Clearly, putting up signs and fences and gates is a waste of time and money. It's a complete waste of taxpayers' money. Amateur sports teams and leagues have to bear additional costs of inspecting and clearing playing fields of dog feces. The players and their parents have to bear the cost of cleaning kit soiled by dog feces. Dog shit gets carried into people's homes on the soles of shoes. This means cleaning bills. People who are jumped on by dogs and have their clothing marked by muddy paws or dog saliva also have to pay to get their clothing back to a clean state. If you are attacked by a dog, it may not break the skin, but will damage your clothing. The cost of new pants or a new jacket is almost always down to you and very rarely the owner of the dog. If you are unlucky enough to be attacked by a dog, you may be even more unlucky if the dog owner decides to take the matter to court. You are left to pay legal fees to defend the action against you. Other incidental costs to the non-dog owner include the creation and maintenance of dog parks, the distribution of dog poop bags. Many cities provide these bags to the public free of charge at the entrances to parks. You, the non-dog owning taxpayer, are paying for these things. Many of my viewers feel very unsafe with all these dogs running about, escaping their enclosures, somehow getting out all the time. We hear about the daily dog attacks. We don't wish to be victims of a dog attack. We don't wish for our loved ones to be victims. So many of us feel the need to arm ourselves, protect ourselves. This could mean purchasing a knife or dog deterrent spray. For some people, it could mean becoming licensed to own a firearm, purchasing a firearm. Again, the dog owners are not paying for this, you are. In British Columbia, the province of Canada where I live, the taxpayer is now paying for pet deposits for people on social assistance. This infuriates me, and I made a video about it. I am sure I am leaving out a bunch of other things that dog worshippers force you, the non-dog owner, to pay for. If you can think of anything else, please add to the list in the comments below. In my final section, I want to look at the benefits to society of dog ownership. It is usual to look at benefits as well as costs in a process called cost-benefit analysis. I would be remiss to only look at one side of the coin. From my point of view, there are no benefits to society to be gained by dog ownership. But I will make an analysis based on what dog worshippers tell us are the benefits of dog keeping. They praise hero dogs that they claim save lives all on their own and out of the goodness of their hearts. They claim that dogs are police officers, firefighters, soldiers, teachers, doctors, and psychologists. This is nonsense, but it is true that a tiny percentage of dogs are able to carry out simple tasks after training and while supervised by a human. There is a tiny benefit there, but it is over-amplified. The benefits are usually exaggerated, and the success rate for trained dogs is usually represented as 100% when it is far from it. The tasks that dogs are promoted for keep expanding and expanding, particularly with the advent of the service dog and the support dog. Dogs are promoted as having 100% accuracy in detecting drugs, explosive materials, cancer, hypo and hyperglycemia, COVID-19 infections, and so on. The list keeps expanding. Dogster magazine describes 10 different types of support dogs. These are guide dogs, hearing dogs, mobility assistance dogs, diabetic alert dogs, seizure alert dogs, seizure response dogs, psychiatric service dogs, autism support dogs, fetal alcohol spectrum disorder dogs, allergy detection dogs. Before we can place any kind of benefit value on such trained dogs, we have to ask whether or not the dogs actually carry out their claimed functions. And we also have to ask if there are other non-animal alternatives which would do a better job than dogs. So while there is some benefit here, it is difficult to quantify, and it is difficult to separate out scientifically valid information from wild, exaggerated, and unsubstantiated claims. Dog worshippers claim a host of benefits for dog ownership. They claim that the dog brings them joy, companionship, friendship, loyalty, unconditional, non-judgmental love, and good health, among many other things. I have discussed many of these claims in previous videos, so I don't want to add much more other than to say that these benefits are nothing more than personal perceptions of dog owners. They are not objective, testable, or measurable benefits. Even if they were objective criteria, they are only of benefit to the dog owner and not to society at large. I do not experience joy in the presence of dogs. When a dog worshipper sees loyalty, I see a highly dependent animal incapable of looking after itself and reliant on its host, the human. These claims are not social benefits. A more convincing social benefit is the financial gains to society of dog ownership. To quote The Pet Nation by Mark Cushing, from 1998 to 2018, the total annual amount of money spent on pets in the United States increased from $23 billion to $90.5 billion, an astonishing 393% increase. In 2019, it reached $95.7 billion. While not all of this money was generated by dog owning, probably more than half was. The only conclusion is that there is a substantial economic benefit to society here. Money is circulating, creating jobs and businesses, and contributing to the tax base necessary to run social structures. While the economic benefit has to be recognized, the moral limitations of such spending has to be recognized as well. Money is spent on trivial, flippant, and unnecessary goods and services. Not only necessary food. Some of this money is going to provide warm coats for animals that already wear a fur coat all year round. It is going to birthday parties for dogs, Halloween costumes for animals that have no idea of the day of the week. It is going to employ dog psychics. It is going to develop foodstuffs with alluring shapes, odors, and tastes to tempt the very unsophisticated taste buds of animals that will happily wolf down shit and vomit. In short, this money is wasted. The idea of keeping pets is a modern invention dating back to around 1860 at the most, so there was an economy before pet keeping. Money spent on dog fripperies could be spent on helping humans who have problems. The money could be spent on dealing with social problems and even global problems. Dollars spent on canines could be saved and be available for banks to lend to startup and fledgling businesses involved in producing goods and services that would benefit all of us, not just animal owners. The next time you read about or watch a video about dogs killing and destroying things, I want you to ask yourself, who pays to clear this up? The answer is, you do. The future is dog-free.